Hey everybody, thank you for watching Moving Forward as part of Salcha, where we talk about all things women in business. Today we are talking about more do's and don'ts in the workplace. Everything from thinking positive thoughts, doing things that bring us closer to our goals, and mixing play with work.
We'll also be talking about the annoying habits that you should be eliminating, as well as what to not be saying.
All right, so let's get started. I'll start with the positive first. I think it's always good to start in the morning off with a good positive. We're on the new year, 2014, so this title is New Year's Fresh Start, 5 Positive Workplace Habits, written by Diane Gottsman from, we'll get you guys the link. Basically what she says is I'll just go ahead and read it, start a goal-setting marathon. She said, set aside a block of time, whether an afternoon, evening, or somewhere in between, to get it clear about your professional and personal goals for 2014. Write them down. Set complete dates so that you're holding yourself accountable, and make each goal tangible. This is something that I have to do because if I write down an ambiguous goal, it almost never gets done.
Sure, of course.
But if I break it down and I'm like, okay, I need to do this, this, and this to get that goal.
I have several friends that will actually go away for a weekend.
Really?
And that's all they do is they look at what they did in the past year, and then they will look at what they're going to do in this next year and plan it all out. And so it's just kind of their own little retreat, go get a little cabin in the mountains or something, and they just take that time to really just work on where they are now, but where they want to be this time next year.
That is amazing.
Try that. Maybe go to a spa or something and have a little pampering time as well.
For all you extra go-getters for your goals. That's awesome though, wow. So the next one is feeling your day with a dose of positive perspective. We'll jump in more with that, but this means different things to different people. It can range from making time to eat breakfast in the morning, using your commute time to listen to an audiobook.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, I used to do that a lot. I need to get to the library or somewhere and get some more. But
a lot of people use iPods and everything else for those kinds of things.
I know, maybe if I was so old school I would do that. But make it a point to find ways to incorporate happiness and motivation into your day. We'll talk more about how you can do that. The next one is, prioritize work-related tasks by importance level. An old-fashioned daily to-do list will help to ensure the most critical items get crossed off your calendar. Do you do any special level of importance or biggest payoff first or during anything like that?
Sometimes, but what I usually try to do is, because my mind will keep going over it, so if I try to write out my to-do list before I leave work, then I know it's there at work. I know it's already planned for, I know what I'm going to be walking into the next day, and then I can just go home and just be. I don't have to worry about it. Oh, I need to remember to do this. Oh, I need to remember to do that. So I try to write out my to-do list for the next day before I leave work.
That's smart. You helped me with that yesterday. I was like, what am I doing tomorrow? You're like, you're doing this, this, and this. I'm like, awesome, thank you. And actually this morning too, just a mental list of what do I have going on today. It just helps me prepare that much more for the day. And
there's so many different apps anymore.
Definitely.
Or if you're the paper kind and you write it all out, I'm the paper. I like to cross it off.
Yeah, me too.
And I cross it off with a highlighter so I can still see what I did.
That's awesome. So managing your time to leave the office at a reasonable hour. I think we're all pretty good about that. I know a lot of people though, they almost have to make themselves leave work.
Yeah.
So setting those hours for yourself.
And maybe it's that you give yourself a couple nights where you know you can work late.
Exactly.
But then there's going to be times where, okay, I'm going to go have a social life now, and I'm going to leave work at 5 or 5:30 or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, when I was working 2 jobs, I don't know what I was doing. I was going to school, having an internship, just a lot of crazy things. I planned out my schedule like hour by hour, and I was like, okay, so this time I'm going to work out, and then I'm going to eat, and then
sometimes you have to be that detailed, otherwise you're going to miss something.
I do not miss those days at all, but I'm happy that I was able to move forward and
got through it.
Got through it, exactly. So I'm kind of jumping on your territory here, but some of the don'ts that they say are stop arriving unprepared to meetings. You can earn a reputation quickly as someone who can't be counted on, not prepared.
Within the first meeting. It doesn't take a few to get that reputation.
Definitely. And then it just shows you have poor time management skills, and you don't want that. This is a big one. Stop comparing yourself to others.
Ooh, I have that one down here too.
I'll talk a little bit about mine, and you can add whatever
Sure.
you have from yours. So it says, it's one thing to take note of reasons you may have been passed over for a promotion, but quite another to become angry and bitter over someone else's success. Stop looking backwards at your competition and look instead at how you can be the best at your own job.
Very good. I had a mentor tell me that there is healthy competition and unhealthy competition. I'm like, oh, how do you do this? So the unhealthy is when you're comparing yourself to others. Healthy is when you're comparing yourself to yourself. So it's when you're looking at yourself and going, okay, 6 months ago I was here. How have I improved?
Exactly.
And last year I was here. How have I improved? And it's looking at how can I continue to get better myself. It's not the, well, she got that corner office, or he did this and he got that. It's the, okay, I can do this because this is where I'm going to be moving forward next.
Yeah.
So,
and it's funny because I actually have to talk to myself and tell myself, you're thinking wrong, stop, and think of it this way.
it is a choice.
It is. So the next one is complaining. It's a hard one to get around, but we all do it. You have to keep it in check. It says you may have demanding clients or a supervisor who excels at micromanaging.
Ooh, excels at micromanaging.
Nice way of putting it.
That's right. That's kind of nice.
But using valuable time and energy to complain about their behavior won't change your situation.
That's true.
So it says learn how to adapt to their personalities, think ahead, so how you can divert some of the scenarios that frustrate you most, and most of all, change your attitude and your situation will change.
And it can be hard.
Definitely.
But there's a lot of people complaining. It's very hard to be the one positive person in there.
Yeah.
But again, it is a choice, and if you are able to train your mind and train yourself to try to find that one positive thing and latch onto that as strong as you can.
Good word, latch on, yeah.
And just try to focus on that as much as possible.
Yeah.
And you may be the only person in your office that's doing it, but you will be a lot better off for it.
And sometimes even putting in headphones, putting on that song, and just getting in your own world, your own zone can help to drown everything out. I do that sometimes. So we'll talk about some of your don'ts that you had.
Yeah. So the first one is 10 annoying workplace habits to kick. It's put out by Parade magazine.
I'm excited to hear this one.
We're only looking at 3, but I really encourage you to look at all 10. They're really good stuff. This article is, and actually all the articles that I'm bringing to the table today are just great self-assessments, whether just for you or if you're going to look at, okay, my team is needing to do this and this and this a little differently.
Right.
So check that out. The first one is I'd like to address is refusing to take breaks. Yes. It says, I hate to break it to you, fellow productivity addicts, but your avoidance of breaks can be damaging your work and your attitude. By scheduling more than just a lunch break during your workday, you'll be able to clear your head and come back to your pile of work refreshed and engaged. Productivity and project management expert Tony Wong suggests meditating, exercising, going for a walk, or even eating a snack. So how do you balance taking a break and all that you have on your plate to do?
I try and do the water break. So when I drink through my water and I need to refill it, I take that time, even though it's just a few steps. I take that time to just walk around, go get my water, kind of walk through the office, say what's up, give my mind a little refresher, and then get back. Which I think a lot of us do that around here.
Yeah, it's good. Do you schedule any breaks, or is it just the water breaks? So when your water bottle is empty, that's when you go?
I don't schedule breaks. I have before in different points in my life, but where I'm at now with this job, I feel that I don't need to. So. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that there are seasons where you just have a lot of deadlines and you have to schedule in some time of a break.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where it's just a natural, okay, I can take a step away for a little bit. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It can just be going to the water cooler and back.
Makes
and
a difference.
It does. It really does. The next one is about avoiding challenges. With challenge comes a chance at growth and improvement. Constantly avoiding things on the job that push you to new levels will likely drag you down. You don't want to be the mediocre employee. Seek out ways to challenge yourself and reach even higher for both you and your organization's goals. So how do you regularly challenge yourself?
I just feel like everything I do is somewhat of a challenge because, I know what I do. I try, and maybe this is just me being an overachiever, but if I have a small task, I try and make it like the best thing that I could possibly do. And it sounds so cliche.
No, it's good.
But I'll give you the example. So I had a proposal, and I could have just made it just a one-page proposal, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to like really put a lot of effort into this and make it awesome. So that to me, it may not have challenged myself, but it challenged me in the fact that I can make something small into something really cool.
Really great.
So
that's great. I like that. Okay, next, back to you.
Oh, okay, yeah. So mine is something that you wouldn't necessarily think as a do, but I think that we do it a lot around here. We just have never really maybe coined the phrase. But it's 5 ways play can balance your life.
Oh.
So why does the role of an adult have to be a serious one? It doesn't, unless you make it that way. So as a child, playtime was when you connected with yourself and the world around you. And then somewhere along the journey from childhood to adulthood, responsibilities, we lose that magic of play. And we're often made to feel guilty for engaging in play because, you know, it's seen as unproductive or childish or a waste of time. And I really believe that it's not, and it's an essential part of living a healthy, balanced, fun life.
And it keeps you creative.
Exactly, especially in this industry where we need to constantly be creative and on our toes.
It's true.
So I want you to play this game with me. Complete this statement. I feel most playful when I, and then here's some examples in case you can't think of anything. Make up a recipe, take dogs hiking, play with children outside or just yourself, create new things, or play pickup games. So what do you feel, when do you feel most playful?
And I think this is because I've just been writing about it, but when I finish a deadline, and it's like, okay, I'm done. And I'm like, and it's party time.
That's
Because I always try really hard that no matter what deadline I meet, no matter how little it is, there's some sort of a celebration. Because I'll need that incentive when most of my life is about deadlines and having homework all the time. It's just something to have that incentive of, okay, I can look forward to having this time, this playtime.
Yeah.
And also with my husband when we're cooking. We have a lot of fun cooking together.
That's fun. And that'll be so cute because then when your son's here and he's a little bit older, he'll associate cooking in the kitchen as fun.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. I like that. Just to let you guys know, I probably feel most playful when I'm playing outside.
Does it have to be snow or is it better in the summer?
I can actually do both.
Okay.
So normally it used to be like snow. I was like, forget it, I'm not going outside. But this year, I bought all the snow gear, like everything head to toe. As long as I'm bundled, I'll get out there, I'll make a snow angel, you know, have a snowball fight.
That's great. And you went skiing recently.
I did.
So
I've been embracing this winter.
Good for you because it's frigid out
Up
there.
until this point, now I'm done. So. So the question is, how can play help balance your life as an adult? 1, engaging in playful behaviors decreases stress levels. We all know that workplace, different times you're going to have stress levels, so just having that playful attitude sometimes can really make an impact. Moments of playfulness grounds you to the present moment. So think when you're in your kitchen and you're having fun, do you feel like you're not thinking about anything else? You're just thinking of the fun that you're having with the kitchen.
You're creating right there.
Yeah, so it totally makes sense. As a group activity, it can strengthen bonds. And it says, she actually says, have a contest. Who can make the funniest face with their food? I don't know if we would do that here, but something like that.
Sure.
We're actually talking about getting, what are we thinking of getting? A foosball table.
Are we?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that rumor.
You
hadn't? No.
Yeah, so we have a basketball hoop and everything here. And what other things do we have? We have like a bean bag.
Yep.
So I think we're thinking of getting a foosball table, and that'll.
Ways of completing work.
Yep. So number 4, play can provide inspiration, excitement, and energy. I think we all know that one. It said, this one really caught my eye. Catch yourself in a routine, shake yourself out of it. Don't allow your days to be habitual, mundane, and ordinary. Add some spice.
Yes. I even heard that you should try to find a different way to drive to work because the same commute over and over can get more mundane. And
I totally believe that.
So.
I just did that the other day. That's so funny that you brought that up. I was like, I am sick of going this way. And you know what? It may have taken me 5 minutes longer, but I was like, it's different scenery. I like it. And I haven't been to this side of town in a while, so.
Hey, whatever works.
Exactly. especially when you're in a car for 2 hours a day, you know.
That's right. And there's nothing much except for cornfields.
Let's be honest.
That's right.
Playing in the workplace can, surprisingly enough, increase productivity, creativity, which we know, and job satisfaction.
Yep.
So if you're feeling stagnant at work, try incorporating some playful behaviors or activities into your day. Be mindful of the effects, you know, don't take it too far. Right. And it's an easy way to revive your energy and balance yourself.
Yep. Ethan and Ashley, two of the writers on the team, every day they go for just a quick break to play basketball and then play a game.
I noticed that.
But it usually ends up in turning into some sort of a brainstorming meeting.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's kind of funny to see how they come back and are able to work on their articles with a different angle or a different motivation.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you're like, go play basketball.
That's right.
That's fine.
or if they just get that stir crazy, I'm not really focusing here, and they just go and do something different, and then they come back and they're very refreshed and able to concentrate again.
Good. So. I like that. So let's get back to the negatives.
All right. The other one is 14 bad habits that can cost you your job. And this one's by Forbes. I'm only going to talk about a few of them, but again, this is a great article. So the article actually opens with Rick Myers. He's the founder of and chief executive of Talent Zoo. And he says that the most unfortunate part is that people rarely realize that they have these bad habits. One of the best pieces of advice is to give someone who wants to advance in their company is to become more self-aware and be sure they are practicing habits that will be of value to the company. So, highly recommend this article. Check it out. There wasn't any fluff in this article, so it's really great stuff. The first one that I wanted to bring out was procrastination. How you need to avoid procrastination. And they say this habit can seriously hurt you in a work setting. If you're one of those folks who believes that you do your work best at the last minute and put off projects or assignments until the day or hour before they are due, you may not be aware of the impact your habit is having on your coworkers. Ugh. If your last-minute rush requires others to work quickly, you will likely anger them, and you'll be the first one blamed when a project fails or isn't completed on time.
Very much so.
So, and I know for a lot of us creativity types, we're just procrastinating. Oh, we'll get to it.
I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, we're waiting for that inspiration, and have writer's block or something, which I don't believe exists anyway. But it's all excuses.
Yep.
And instead of just stapling your pants to the chair and getting the job done, you're just waiting. Yeah. How do you avoid procrastinating? Or do you even struggle with this? Somehow I don't think this is.
I think probably in college I did, but now that I'm working, I just realize like I have to get it done, and I don't like that feeling of being rushed, and I don't work well in those conditions anyway. So it is a part of being aware of how I work and how I can bring my strengths best, and procrastinating is not one of them. So,
and for me, it's a huge incentive to know that it's not just about me. It's not just that if I miss this deadline, it's just my fault.
Right.
It's going to affect other people in the office, and for that, I feel so awful if that happened to me.
And especially since we work for clients, so if we're behind, that's late for the client, and it's just such a triple ripple effect or whatever.
Yes, it is. And even if the client is procrastinating, we still have the responsibility to keep them on target. And because we're representing them, and their reputation is our reputation as well. So.
And honestly, if something doesn't get done, they're not likely to say, "Oh, that was my fault."
Right.
It's usually like, "Well, So we need to be doing what we can on our end, no matter what.
I agree. The next one is negativity. So many of us habitually gossip, whine, or complain, but do any of these too often, and your job can be on the line. These all lead to the same end result. You become a headache for your manager. It goes on to say your boss is likely responsible for ensuring her teams are contributing to positive morale, and anyone on the team who is counterproductive to that reflects poorly on her. Negative employees are often referred to as cancer by upper management for good reason. They will eventually be cut out. A good approach if you have a complaint is to speak with your manager directly in private. Never drum up your coworkers for support first. It is super easy to fall into that negativity. We were talking about that a little bit before, and it's very contagious. Oh, yeah. And you can come in with the best positive attitude in the morning, and then someone says one thing, and it's downhill for the rest of the day.
Yeah, it can be.
And it's so hard to pull yourself out of that. It's far harder to maintain a positive attitude when coworkers aren't.
It's funny that they called it a cancer because it's like, ooh, but it really does have such an effect that cancer almost kind of hits it on the head.
Exactly, and it spreads fast.
Yeah.
So then it moves on to talk about poor grammar, and this is where I'm like, of course, as a writer, I'm like, ha ha ha.
What are they saying?
That's right. And they say when you hear someone using poor grammar, slang, or profanity, it translates into believing that person to be uneducated. Remind yourself that you are not at home or speaking with friends at a social gathering. Be on point by always assuming that your boss is in earshot. I liked that.
I like that too.
And also have in mind that your customers or your clients are within earshot. So whatever you don't want them to hear, you probably shouldn't be saying out loud in public anyway.
Yeah, and it's like unless you have a really close working relationship where they know you, then maybe it's okay, but don't even risk it.
Yeah, just totally avoid it, especially in a meeting. If you always consider a meeting, no matter if it's brainstorming or just, hey, let's check in or anything, make sure it's a presentation. You are putting your best face forward no matter what.
Yeah.
So anything else about this point that you'd like to bring out?
Really good points. I always like some good concrete examples. I think that's a really good article.
Yeah, I really recommend. Again, it's 14 bad habits that can cost you your job, and it's on Forbes. So next, back to you.
All right, back to the happy swing of things. Mine is happiness coaching at work. So this is becoming a thing now.
Yes.
And I feel like if there's a need for it, people like find it and they'll make a job out of it. They'll make a business out of it. Well, people are actually going into businesses and their whole spiel is that they're a happiness coach and they want to inspire a happier workplace. And so these are some of the examples that the coaches give to make others happier at work. And I'm so glad that we would never have to hire one of these here. But for the businesses that do, here's some great tips. Write emails to your coworkers. She says every day, thanking them for something they have done. I think that might be a little excessive. I think just saying thank you, showing some appreciation goes a long way. You may not have to do it every day. 2, meditate daily to clear your mind. That doesn't necessarily have to be meditate. It can be positive affirmations or just something to get your mind refreshed. Do something for somebody without expecting anything in return.
It's amazing how that happens.
I really liked that one, and I feel like, well, yesterday we just had chips and salsa brought in for lunch, and our boss is in Vegas right now, but he called the admin and had her do that for us, and that was just one of those things where it was like, oh.
It wasn't fireworks and party streamers, but it was just a nice little, that's really nice that he's thinking of us.
Yeah.
In his 65-degree weather.
In his hotel.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that was awesome, and it does go a long way. Can you think of a time where someone gave you something unexpected and they didn't expect anything and you were like, oh?
Oh, it happened a lot.
Yeah.
But it's been always really cool to see that it's usually from someone I don't expect it from. And it's, whether it be some sort of support through school or some sort of, little treat here and there at work, but it's usually from someone I don't expect it from. So
That's
it's
cool.
Really cool to see.
That is awesome. This one was really good that I didn't think about. Write in a journal about things that you are thankful for. So she actually just says, like, keeping a journal in your desk. That way, if you have those fleeting thoughts, just write them down. That way it doesn't just go through your mind quickly. Look for traits that you admire in people and compliment them.
I totally agree with that.
That's something that I want to get better at doing because I feel like I do admire so many traits about people that are in my lives, and I don't necessarily tell them, and I want to. So I'm going to focus on that.
All right. Hold you accountable.
You're like, what do you want to tell me?
That's right. No.
Focus on the process of your work, which you can control, rather than outcomes, which you can't. Makes sense. Number 6.
Hard to do, though.
It's one of those where it's easier said than done.
Definitely.
But we all know that we need to do it. Focus on what you control, not what you can't control.
That's right.
Number 6, don't immediately label events good or bad. Be open to potentially positive outcomes of even the most seemingly negative events.
I agree.
That was a good one, huh?
Yep.
Because I think automatically we put those labels on and it changes our whole demeanor. So if you walk into whatever situation it is and you have an open mind, you're open to learning, you're open to experiencing something new, and who knows, might make a contact or something good comes from it.
That's right. You never know, and it's a response. It's not, and it's an immediate response, and then you just kind of go with that response for the rest of the meeting. But there have been times where I thought the meeting was going to start off really horrible, so the client was upset about something that wasn't necessarily our fault or their fault. It was just a bad situation, and instead of taking it as a defensive measure, we took it as a how can we help? How can we solve this together? And how can we compromise? And it turned into a very positive meeting. So it's total flip-flop, and all it takes is some effort on your attitude.
Yes. Yeah, so it's all about attitudes and do's and don'ts in the workplace.
That's right. So one more don'ts. 13 things you should never say in the workplace. And again, this one's by Forbes. I was on Forbes a lot this week, apparently.
I guess so.
This article starts with a quote by author Darlene Price. Words matter, she says. They are a key component of persuasive communication. Regardless of the audience, topic, or industry, or whether the setting is a stand-up presentation, sit-down conversation, telephone discussion, or an online meeting, a leader uses language to influence someone's mind in order to achieve a certain result. That's one reason they're seen as leaders. Their words compel people to follow. Often there are just little phrases that we will say throughout the day to different people for different situations, and we don't really understand, or we don't really realize what we're saying in the underlying message. So I'm going to bring out a few. The first is, I'll try.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
I
find myself doing that sometimes.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't know what I was watching or whatever, but I noticed somebody was saying that, and I was like, I don't need you to try, I just need you to do it. So I could totally relate with that one.
Yep. The article says here, imagine it's April 15th and you ask a friend to mail your tax returns before 5 p.m. on his way to the post office. Price says, if he replies, okay, I'll try, you'll likely feel the need to mail them yourself. Why? Because that phrase implies the possibility of failure.
Yeah.
And so when you say, I'll try, it is setting yourself up for either not quite completing it, or maybe not doing as good a job.
Right.
Or giving someone a little bit of that hesitation of, oh my goodness, what's going to happen with this person? So they say, in your speech, especially with senior leaders, replace the word try with the word and intention of will. So I will. This seemingly small change can speak volumes. So what other alternatives would you suggest besides I will try?
Something I do to skirt around it is say, I'll look into it. And that's my way of buying. Maybe I can't commit to something, but I certainly will look into it, you know?
Absolutely.
So to me, that's better than I'll try.
That's right. So. The next one is you should have, or you could have. They say, you probably wouldn't be thrilled if someone said, you should have told me about this sooner, or you could have tried a little harder. Chances are these fault-finding words inflict feelings of blame and finger-pointing. Ideally, the workplace fosters equality, collaboration, and teamwork. Instead of making someone feel guilty, even if they are, take a more productive, non-judgmental approach. Say, next time, to ensure proper planning, please bring this to my attention immediately. Or, in the future, I recommend.
Yeah.
I find myself doing, in the future, I recommend. Or, next time, well, how about we?
I like that a lot. I had a boss that always said it that way, and it stuck out in my mind. I was like, oh, that's a nice way of saying that. So that's a good one.
My piano teacher, when I was little, instead of saying, well, would you like to try it again? Or, how about you try it again? It was, this time, when you play it, try adding this different element to it.
And it gives you that, like, okay,
I'll
do it this time.
I can do this, and I can add that in.
Yeah.
So it's really good. The next one is, I may be wrong, but...
That's a good one.
Or, this may be a silly idea, but...
Oh, so they're kind of like already second-guessing themselves.
Exactly. These phrases are known as discounting. They diminish the impact of what follows and reduce your credibility. Remember that your spoken words reveal to the world how much value you place on yourself and your message. For this reason, eliminate any prefacing phrase that demeans the importance of who you are, or lessens the significance of what you contribute. So don't say, this may be a silly idea, but I was thinking that we might to conduct quarterly meetings online. Okay.
Okay.
Instead, yeah, exactly. Is that okay? And that was another one. Okay. Instead, assert your recommendation to reduce travel costs and increase time efficiency. I recommend we conduct the quarterly meeting online.
That's nice.
And just be confident in what you're doing.
And I think, I don't know, women tend to say, even in meetings, like, I just have a question. Even that just, you're saying, like, no, like, you have a question. You don't just have a question.
Or just ask the question.
Yeah. Don't pre-phrase it.
That's right. I find myself saying, it might just be me. Or it could just be my personal preference, but what if?
I know, I struggle with those too.
And it's, instead of just saying, this is what we're going to do, and this is what I recommend, or this is what I see could be changed.
Yeah, I say correct me if I'm wrong, because I often second guess myself, and since there's so many things on the developer side that I don't know, I'm like, tell me if I'm wrong, but blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
It's a struggle.
It is hard, and I think that's something that women tend to battle with a bit more intensely. And again, is having that confidence that you are hired for a job to do, and you have experience, and there is a reason you were hired to do this. And so feel confident in that somebody believes in you to say, yep, we're going to pay you this much money, and you're going to have this office, you're going to do these tasks.
Right.
And so your feedback and your opinion is very much valued and needed for that role. So try to avoid some of those things to say. There's a lot more on there in that article, so have fun looking those over and keep working on it.
Thank you guys for watching Moving Forward. I hope that you learned some tips for do's and don'ts in the workplace, and we appreciate all the engagement that we've been getting and look forward to continuing this conversation. Make sure and chat with me or tweet me at Thought Kebabs,
and I'm at Leilani SQ on Twitter as well.
And we'll catch you guys next time.